you'll do, we'll go over here to the visitors center and we'll do a little introduction to the site. Over here, we have a mom and here. They did have a sign there, the green one leaning up over there on the side says water of the rock. It's actually rock, stone, water, the meaning of Altun Ha. Altun Ha was a big trading site in the past. Today we'll adventure in there. We'll be going right back into time from about 150 AD to about 950 AD, occupation time. There's also a building all the way back here that they dated back all around BC, about 100 BC, this building. This one is covered into the jungle presently, and then these other two here is about 150 AD, these buildings, and then all of these ones that we're seeing here, these are just mounds, like the little hills that we are seeing surrounding in this area, over here, covered into the rainforest presently. Here it has a huge reservoir that supplied the city here of 8 to 11,000 Mayans in the past with water. This trail is known in Mayan terms as a sack bed. The trail going through the rainforest to the reservoir that supplied the city. You have a stream that comes right into this reservoir that's supplied with water. Also in the center, there's like a spring in the center of the pool that always bring up water. So even in the dry season, this still has water. And in the rainy season, it has water. The Temple of the Green Tombs. This is one of the buildings that they found over 300 pieces of jade objects inside of this one over here. They also found one of the books with the hieroglyphic writings way back in the time of the Mayans. Okay? A beautiful headdress there that you would see with the rain god over there in that era. I'll point that out to you as we go there. From there we'll be coming back out here and coming across right in towards the B Plaza. In between the A3 building, this is the building from the 4th to the 9th century. Over there we come across to the Religious Plaza. Over here in the Religious Plaza, this was the residential home of the ruling family, the B3 building. Adjacent to it, the Wind Temple. They have some little pools. It's believed that the Mayans had herbal water in there, that they would dip you in it and do a little ceremony, what we would say baptismal. As you know, the Adventists and other churches way back then, way back in the time of John the Baptist dipping Jesus Christ back then, right, in the water. Similar they did here in this little pool. And then next to it you have the B6 building over there. This one just adjacent to the masonry altar dedicated to the sun god. This one is known as the masonry altar. The upper part of it is a tomb that they found the burial with the ruler that you can see on the chart right over there. I'll walk right over there shortly to show you that. And then every level of this building has an altar, the round stuff on top. When we get on top of the sun god temple, also known as the masonry altar, you'll see every level that it had a altar that they used to do sacrifices. The ruler of the site, he would put on his feather gown. When he got up there, he appeared as a god. He would talk through shells and stuff like that that amplified his voice. Back in that time, all these quite was here in the past. Okay? As we go in there, we'll adventure right back into time. I'll show you the burial note that was in the upper part of the A6 structure, just over here to the left with the ruler. You can see that right here. This is it right up here on the chart. You can see the Mayan calendar just over the head here. Several pieces of pottery. Here you have a piece of broken vessel. Can anyone guess why a broken vessel in a tomb? Whenever we die, we believe that what happens?
We go to heaven.
Right? We believe that we die and we don't go directly to heaven. We go into the ground first, right? Some of our beliefs, after 3 days, your soul rise and it ascends to heaven or hell. That is some religious belief. Okay? After the 9th day, your soul comes through the roots of the sacred tree of the Mayans, right up to the branch. And whenever the sun rises on the 9th day, it beams the soul out to the heavens. This is some of the belief of the indigenous Mayans that was here. Over 1 million Mayans used to live here in Belize. Today we only have 3 groups here. We have most of the Yucatec Mayan intermixing with the Hispanic in the northern part. In the center of the country we have the Mopan Mayans and over there. See? So that was how it was in the past. You can see just around the hip area of the burial, the jade head right here. Several pieces of jade beads around the chest plate. That is what the jade head looked like. Remember this morning when we were doing the city tour coming out? I showed you that near to the tourism village at the museum. If you get a chance when you come back in, it would be nice if that museum would be open, that you can go there and see some of the jade. It's very, very beautiful, right? You can look at your time when you're coming back in, and if you have a time, you can stop in that you just get a little look of it to see more or less what it looks like, right? Okay, now let's move right into the site for our actual tour. That was used to do some of the staircases going up to the upper part of the structure. That is what this is telling you all about here. Now, what is not here, they don't say anything about Canada. 50% of what was found here at the site was shared between Belize and Canada. The Canadians, they paid for all of the excavation that went on here at Altun Ha. 50% was shared to them, 50% stayed here in Belize. So we still have to give them their credit for that. USA didn't get anything back from what they did. They donated here to do the staircases. This is the reason why you see the government of Belize and here. Now you take that and you crack it with a stone, and you get a little coconut on the inside. You boil it into water, all the fat comes up and float on top of the water, and you can make oil for cooking. The cajoons, you could crack it open. Also, the outer shell, it can be used as charcoal. We use that a lot in the US also. And they make fuel from it also. So there's several different uses for it. Now here on the right, this is all part of the A7 structure. You can see part of the staircase here, buried right in there. The little staircase coming up for upper stage. The Mayans had a way that they would build platform on top of platform. Every 52 years they would make a change. This is one change that you see down here, a second change, and then a third one, and possibly a fourth level here. As you notice, we came information from the different Mayans all over Belize is still buried a lot into these pyramids today. Archaeologists today, when they're going down into these buildings, they're finding out a lot of stuff that occurred and original names of sites through this medium. Why? When the Spaniards came, they invaded on the Mayans, they tried to get them into Christianity. So they destroyed all the stellars. Normally a building like this would have a stellar standing about this high, about that wide, and that across, right? It would be like that in width, and then the width of it, the wideness would be about that, depicting a ruler or what occurred here in the past, in front of all the stellars. If you go to St. Antonich, Lemani, most of them you see just a structure standing there, but all the information has been cleared off. There's few of them that they found in buildings at Lemani that they have in a museum that they can explain, with the rulers, what occurred there in the past and stuff like that. Altun Ha being only 6 miles away from the sea, being a big trading center in the past. When the Spaniards came here, first thing they did was destroy most of those stellars. That's why you don't see any stellars here today. Platforms going up, it is pretty much deteriorated what you're looking at over here in this area. This building had 13 doorways going right around the upper part of this building. A single tomb was found on the top, which is believed that they had one of the rulers that overlooked most of the plaza here in the past. Sometime after some back in time there, in a while, there was a change of leadership here, and what they found, the remains of the ruler that was there, his remains was badly burnt. Means that some sort of uproar, and they got rid of him, and someone new took over after that. That is very unusual in a Mayan site. That is the first time they found something like that here, compared to many of the other sites. So it's a lot of evidence that maybe he would have been a really cruel ruler, did something out of the way that some people here didn't really like, and they had an uproar and they made that change back then. That used to happen. As you see the movie Apocalypto, you saw that depicts a lot of what occurred in some of the different tribes after time. First, most of the sites used to get together, they trade and everything worked together. After a while, some of the rulers would use the shoulders every time they hit the ball, up to the head. This game went on for weeks and weeks. Sometime at the ending of the game, the captain of the team would have been sacrificed, or the whole winning team. Not the losers, the winning team. So back then, I guess they didn't want to be losers, right? But it was an honor back then. Whenever you died, they believed that they went down to the 9 levels of hell and then up to the 13 heaven system. In some of the Mayan books, the Paparu, I didn't have the right name there for that, the Papavu book, some of Linda Shields' book, it tells you about in the Mayan world, they believe in sometimes when they did certain honors that if you died, that your soul went directly up to the heavens. It's just like the guys in the Middle East when they crash into the World Trade Center. This is how they believe that they did that in the name of valor, and their soul goes right up to heaven. So different religion, different religious beliefs. So you have to be careful sometimes how far you go there. Okay. Let's move up towards the upper part of the green tomb over here. What color? Green. In the sky. Blue. To the north. White. You're right. To the south. Yellow greenish. Down south. And to the west. Darkness. Night. You see? That's the different cardinal points. Okay? So in the Mayan world, if you were traveling north, south, east, or west, they had these buildings beautiful colored, so you can know your sense of direction. If you would take a GPS and lock it in right in front of these buildings, you'll be amazed how they are set up perfectly in order. Okay? How they did it without the equipment we have today, it's still unknown. When you're a little out of shape, let me start.
I'm up, Brad.
I'm used to it. Okay, if you notice over here, it's all limestone. And then over here, what we see? Flintstone. Yabba 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 do, right?
Yabba yabba do.
They hit them together. And what we get? A fire. They start the fire there, right? What Pentecost did, Pentecost was here. He excavated into this part of the building. He left, he didn't find much. He was working all across the country. One Saturday he was in Belize City and he came across these guys in the market. He saw two guys selling artifacts. When he traced it back to right here where he was. And he excavated here and he didn't find much, so he decided to leave. When he came back, there was a big hole. Let's continue this way. Up here of that building. That more or less would have been looking like what you're seeing on the front of the masonry altar over there. You notice the front of the masonry altar? You have 9 doorways, 10 pillars, and 9 doorways leading into the 9 levels of hell. So if you notice to the far right, on the second floor there, that came right across and extended out to the pillars in the front. So it was like a balcony that you walk into. Especially when there were eclipses, it's told that some of these rulers, they said they would show their strength. They would show how they could make day become pretty much like night, or night, or you could just make the moon pretty much disappear. These guys study astronomy quite a bit, so they knew exactly more or less when it would have been raining. You noticed earlier I could have predicted more or less when it rained. You could know more or less when the eclipse are coming with our good weather bureau patterns today around the world. So similar, some of them had a lot of these knowledge back then, so it worked in their favor. This is how the rulers showed their strength. Over here we have the stronger fig, also known as a banyan tree, in the area here to the right. And then these little limestone pools we're looking at. This was used by the last archaeologist here, Dr. Hani Awe. He mixed the limestone with the water here. These little squares that you notice over there, those are like little boxes that they put the limestone in and use the shade of the trees for these to sit. As soon as it's hard enough to work with, we would take it and put it into the squares and stick back on the stones onto the edge of the building. When you're doing this, when you're working on these pyramids, it's like you're doing a row. You do it like block by block. If there's one bad and decay, you have to recut it, reshape it, and try to put it back at the exact location. It's just like you're doing a row of teeth. And so it's very technical, the type of work you do. When he's here, he do give you the chance to one-on-one with him, and he explains all of that to you. So it's very nice when you see them here working and getting more information directly from the archaeologists. Right? Over here, that one right there, it's called the Gumbo Limbo tree. Anyone ever got poison ivy on the skin? Burns a lot, right? Burns pretty bad. If this tree was wrong, what you would do, you cut the tree, and the milk that comes from the tree, you put it onto the spot, and that would ease the pain right away. Give it a day or two, it will fall. Everything that was there like acid will come right off, fall right off completely. So that's the cure for poison ivy. The Gumbo Limbo tree. The milk killed them in the street. I took it over up here, right? Strangler fig, also known as the banyan tree. Now you had a lot of vines. That vine right there was pretty strong. His Sonny was here. Sonny, he likes to adventure. He's not as big as me. He doesn't have 260 pounds. He's about 180. He would climb right up. He's adventurous stuff there. Okay?
I've never seen vines. He will climb the vines.
Over here, this tree here has a little green seed that grows on this tree. It's called tapatule. If you notice the little green seeds on some of them, on the little pads right there, those get big over time, about this big, and it gets black. You may see some around on the ground. The little black round stuff, if we don't see here, you'll see it in front of the masonry altar, on the side of the masonry altar there. There's a little syrup that's inside of that little black pad. That is, it's good for diarrhea or food poisoning. So if you feel sick, that will check it perfect. 1 or 2 is the dose. You don't want to take 3 or 4. 3 or 4, it takes care of the problem, then it blocks up the system. And you won't go to the restroom. So 2 is the dose. Don't take more than 2. Okay? Over here, this is part of a structure. Dr. Jaime Awe, what he did, he tried to do the lower section of the building, which was here in the past. As you notice on the right and on the left over there, there's like a big crack that had a big opening that you could see right across to the temple of the masonry altar, the sun god temple, over that way from this point, right? He enclosed the lower section. From what we're looking at here, you can see that this possibly had 3 or 4 levels of construction, the lower section of this building. Just over there. So as we walk into the next plaza, remember we're walking right into the religious plaza where they did all their religious ceremonies and stuff like that over there. Okay? The masonry altar. This is the main attraction here. As you look at the front of the masonry altar here, you can see 2 head masses to the left, 1 to the center, and 2 to the right. The one to the upper right is perfectly intact. That's the face of the 5 faces of the sun god. Inich Ahau, the name of the sun god, right? What's the name? So when you want to pray, when you want the sun, right? When you want the